What's up, everyone? So, today we're going to be talking about what the three foundations are to building a successful business. Most small businesses fail, like the large majority of them. So, I'm in my 20s. I'm actually 23 years old at the time of filming this, and I've already built a multi-million dollar business. Now, this is not information that is solely based off my experience. Yes, I've had a lot of success in business at an early age, and yes, there's me way more to come as well, Lord willing. But this is all information that I've gathered from people that are way more successful than me in business. Like people like Patrick Wright David, Alex Hormozy, Ed Mylett, Andrew Tate, whoever you want to say, Beatrice Cullen, and plenty of other people that's had way more success than me, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, you name it. Just stuff that I've consumed from them that I've implemented that has worked extremely well. I mean, I'm 23 years old with a multi-million dollar business, so um, let's get into it. There's three things. Okay, so there's three foundations to business. This is stuff that people get away from. People always get away from the foundations. So for myself, for example, like I played baseball. That was a sport I played growing up. And with baseball, there was a coach, one of my best coaches, he always told me, he said, if you do the routine things routinely, that's how you become like successful in baseball, right? And that goes for any sport, and that goes for any business, and really anything you do in life. If you do the routine things on a routine basis, that is where the money's at. Like the money is in the mundane things. So the things that you don't want to do or you feel like you know really, really well, you need to actually dive into those things. It's majoring in the majors and dive into those things. And that's how you're going to exceed growth in your business. Here's the three main things. Three main things are sales, marketing, and numbers. So I'm saying it's nothing crazy. You've probably heard this before. Oh, sales are important for business. Really? Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, 23-year-old. Thank you for that. I get it. All right. Marketing, same thing. Numbers, same thing. I got it. But what we're going to do is we're going to dive down into these and explain why they're so important and the biggest shortcomings that new businesses make and the things that they don't focus on that they think they know, but they don't actually know. That's what we're going to focus on. Okay. So let's talk about sales first. Sales, it's hard to categorize these and say which one's more important than the other. But at the end of the day, if this doesn't happen right here, there's no money being made. There is no money being made unless there is a sale of a product. Here's our product. Let's say it's a little gift right here. Boom. I'm an artist, clearly. So we got the sale of a product to a consumer who is going to pay cash. Cash. Boom. He's paying cash. He's getting a product. That money ultimately is what it's going to go to the business. Let's say this is the business. Okay. That, of course, is how you actually generate revenue, is with the exchange of an external currency for an internal resource, is how money's actually generated within a business. But the other thing with this is how people get paid. Like, you want to talk about revenue that a business has, that only comes from this. So if this doesn't happen, you don't have employees, you don't have overhead expenses that you can pay, you can't pay for anything, you can't even pay for the product itself because you don't have the sales of the actual product. The margin that you get from the sale of the product, if you don't know what margin is just whatever the profit is, right? So if you don't have margin, if you don't have some sort of profitability from the actual sale itself, then you're not actually able to do anything in business at all, anything whatsoever. One of the biggest mistakes I'll see people make is that they'll leverage debt and then continue to leverage debt and not be profitable on this goose chase to be able to like sell products. Like no one cares how many products you sell. It does not matter how many products you sell whatsoever. What's the margin of the products? Okay, and then what's the profit? What's the overall revenue that you're getting? Yeah, combined margin with a lot of products sold, it's great. But if you have no margin and you sell a million products, it doesn't matter. You didn't make any money. You're not useful. You can't pay your employees. Okay, so let's specifically talk about sales representatives because sales representatives should be the highest paid people in that company. Why? because again, like we talked about, this is how the revenue for the business is actually generated. So you want to compensate the people that are actually doing the sales as the product the most, therefore you're going to get the most revenue. I'm a very strong believer that commission, no base, 100% commission is the way to do this. The reason why is because if it's 100% commission, you're going to be leveraging, let's say that let's call this profit, okay? Let's call both of these things profit. Okay, one form of profit is all commission. Let's say this one's all commission. So boom, it's all commission, it's filled up. 100% commission. Okay. And let's say this is 50% commission and 50% base. Base salary is half of it, and half of it's commission. This one right here is going to attract people that just do their job. This one right here is going to attract people that go above and beyond and that exceed company standards and want to sell, 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 because the revenue that's generated from this, if these both generate $100, this is 50 and 50, right? They're both, let's say, making $100 of this, but this one, the person can keep doing and doing and doing and doing and doing. If they do it 10 times, let's say they have $1,000, okay? If this person does this 10 times, they only get this $50 once because it's base. So you only get it once. So this person's can get $550. So that's why I believe that commission-based jobs are the only way to do it, 100% commission, not base with commission. Some people think that's better. That's way worse because you're attracting people that only do their jobs, not people that are money motivated and that try to go above and beyond and are going to sell the product out the door. Also with sales, this can be your amount of sales. If you're trying to generate more sales in a business, first of all, of course, it has to have margin to it, like we talked about. But secondly, it can be rapidly expanded if it has some sort of multi-level component to it. Here's why. If let's say let's use okay, so that's two examples. Let's erase this. Let's say this is one company, this is another company. Okay, let's say this person has, let's just say five, keep the math simple. They have five sales reps. They have five sales reps. All those sales reps do a certain amount of production, aka a certain amount of sales for the company. They each have five sales reps. But this company, company one, or company A, let's say, versus company B, if company A has a structure set up as multi-level so that these sales reps would get paid if they had the ability to be an independent contractor and form some sort of team. So like this person can form a team and they can get five reps. And they can get five reps. And so on and so forth. And they have that structure set up versus this structure where if you want to add more reps, you have to independently add them on. So this person right here, 5 plus 5 is 25. This company could have hired 25 more people, okay, by hiring five people. This company, company B, right here, in order to hire 25 more people, they'd have to independently go out and hire 25 more people. So this is going to be way more profitable because it's going to have less inputs and a higher output versus this, you're getting a 1-to-1 input to output ratio. Okay. Quick thing on this, I'll move on to marketing. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, this is great, but then how would that work with this person down here, with this person right here? Would they be getting paid less per se than this person? That's why it's very important for multi-level marketing to have it to where this person has the ability to move up to here. So they have the ability to move up to there, make it some sort of requirement, make it some sort of promotion, doesn't matter. But that solves any sort of issues or any sort of problems with not being to get too extended out, so that way the sales representative isn't getting paid as much, is that they have the ability to get promoted up to a position right here, right? Which is basically them being able to form a team. That's everything with sales, okay? So the second foundation for revenue for a business to be profitable is to market your product. If you are not marketing your product, especially if you're competing against businesses that have millions of dollars that they're investing into marketing, you're going to get smoked. You're not even going to have a chance to compete whatsoever. There's a saying in business where the best known beats the best. And that's 100% true. You can have a great product, but if nobody knows about it, who's going to buy it? You can use a sports analogy with this one. Let's say you got two boxers, okay? You got, this boxer right here. What marker's going out on me? And we got this boxer right here, okay? This one knows how to market. This one doesn't. By the way, the highest paid boxers are the ones that have the most people show up for it, right? But if this person, let's say, is a B plus, or let's say they're B plus, and this person's an A plus, but nobody knows about this A plus, like they can't make any connections with anybody. They can't like there's nothing like there's nobody that's gonna catch the ride, nobody that's gonna watch them, nobody's gonna actually exchange currency for them because they don't even know about them, right? Whereas this B plus, if everybody knows about them, well, they think that's the best option out there because they don't know about the A plus person, then that's where they're gonna invest. That's where they're gonna pay to see fight is that person. Another point with this, with marketing, all marketing is, this is the biggest mistake people make with marketing. Hands down, the biggest mistake that I see people make with marketing is the definition, like what actually is good marketing. Marketing is this. If you remember anything, remember this. Marketing is leveraging things to new people. Leveraging things to new people. We always get the leveraging thing right. Like the leveraging thing, people always get that right. So let's say both these people are trying to get promoted, okay? So let's say Boxer A, we have this marketer. Okay, let's say they're getting marketed, and let's say this is the audience. That's the audience. Okay, but I don't have to label it, right? We can get that. Like, so the marketing, let's say it's just through Instagram or something like that, and that's the audience, and that's what they're leveraging. They're talking about, okay, on Instagram, hey, like, again, it's one audience. This person's so good. Here's their highlight tapes. Here's, they punch with this amount of force. They're this tall. Here's the ring span. Here's the record. They're leveraging the thing well. They're leveraging the person well, right? But they're not doing it to new people. Versus this boxer, let's say their marketing team is an Instagram. Let's say they're on YouTube. Let's say even with Instagram, they're trying to tap into different audiences, multiple different audiences. Let's get this out here. They're trying to tap into multiple different audiences on Instagram, like through like different ads, meta ads, whatever it may be, and they have multiple different accounts. So they have multiple different Instagram platforms of audiences. With YouTube, maybe they have YouTube ads as well, and they're posting on YouTube. And let's say they're also on TikTok. Let's say they also have, you know, billboards or something like that, newspaper coverage. How much more of an audience is this person compared to this person now? Doesn't matter, he's an A plus. There's only a certain amount of return that this person is going to get. Let's say 50% of the audience for person A buys into it, and they pay for the show, they watch the show, they consume whatever the product is. And let's say only 25% of the people, half of the people compared to A for person B consume the product. So only 25% of people consume for person B. Well, if the audience is, let's say this is 100 people, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's say there's 10 audiences here. Let's say this is 1,000 people. Well, if this is 50%, you got 50 people consuming, versus 25%, you have 250 people consuming. So even if you're getting half of the result, half of the conversion, if you have a higher audience, what's 50 times, what's the return on that? That would be, you're getting 5 times the result, 5 times the return. based on simply marketing to new audiences. The biggest thing people mess up is they leverage the thing. They do well at leveraging the person. Look how good this boxer is, but they don't do it to new audiences. New audiences are the only way that you're going to grow your business, the only way you're going to scale your business. That's the only possible way to do that. You might ask, okay, what's the best way to do that? I'll give you some. I'll give you the best one too. The best one's referrals, right? I'll touch on that in a second. But doing ads, paid ads is huge. Doing social media, just social media posts just in general that don't cost any money, just post, 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 post. That's usually the biggest mistake people make is they'll only have one audience they're consistently posting to. You need to have ads, that way you're reaching to new people. You can do just in person, just talking about it. You can have billboards, you can have posters, you can have all those examples that we talked about on here, YouTube, whatever it may be, TikTok, different forms of social media. Those are all great and those are all work well, those are all important, those are all necessary. You want to know what the best way is? The best way is referrals. Hands down, the best way is referrals. Now, what's the best way to do referrals? Here's the thing. Everything in life is a value exchange. So if you really want to get these audiences expanding to even more audiences, let's say this audience right here, you want to get this audience to reach out to a bunch of different people. What needs to happen? First, the person has to have some sort of value from the product. Like they watched it and it was a great show, and this person won the fight, and the lighting was great, the scenery was great, the music was great. They didn't have a long line to get in. The experience, the value of the product itself was good. Okay, that's gonna make them want to reach out to it, sure. But if you really want to blow that process up and you really want to speed up how quickly that process happens, you should incentivize referrals. Incentivizing referrals. Everything's a value exchange. So unless the value you're providing is great enough for the people to reach out, well, actually, it could be. Let's say the value you're providing is good enough for you to reach out. Like, let's say it's you went to a dinner and the dinner was great, the restaurant was great, ambiance is great, and you go and you tell all your friends about it. That would work. That works, right? The value's there. But if you want to multiply those results, let's say that dinner had it set up to where, hey, if there's 5 people that actually end up dining with us, then we'll give you 10% of whatever the revenue was that we generated on that meal. Yeah, you'd be marketing a lot more then, right? As if, let's use the boxing example. Let's say for this audience, the audience was told, hey, hope you enjoyed the show. If we give you a referral bonus of 10% of if somebody signs up and watches a show, we'll give you 10% of whatever our revenue was in order for if they signed up from you, they're going to be way more likely to already do the marketing for you, increase the marketing for you, and post about it and whatever, and tell their friends about it because it was valuable, but also because they're going to get some sort of compensation from it. And if you think, okay, yeah, but I'm giving up 10% of my revenue, that's difficult to do. That's hard to do. Think about what is the return on that. Is the return on that is the increase in the amount, like the quantity of your margin. Let's say you're making $1,000 and you give 10% of it up, so you give $100 up in order to to Joe. Let's say you give Joe $100 because he referred somebody, so you're making $900 instead of $1,000. But Joe brings in 5 more clients. Guess what? You just 5x your return. But people are too stingy and they'll hold on to that $100 and they won't give out a referral, and they'll get stuck at that 1,000. And they make $1,000, great. And instead, they should make $900 and send it out to 5 people, and you can get the referral, so it gets extended out to 5 people. So it's 900 times 5, right? Which is I'm on the spot right now, 4,500, right? I mean, $4,500 from that. So that's marketing. Now, funny enough, we're talking about numbers now. Okay, next thing's numbers. So with marketing and with sales and just with business in general, what is the most important thing with all of that is making sure that it's profitable, making sure the numbers actually make sense, making sure that what you're investing into the business is actually giving you a return on it. You're not just shelling out money and you have no idea where it's going. You have no idea if you're getting a return on it. That's going to give you way more stress if you're doing that. If you're shelling out money and you have no idea what the return is, every single investment that you make, everything that you do, everything you spend in business should have a measurable return to it. Or if not, then you don't know if that's making you money or if that's losing you money. And that, of course, can not only be stressful, but you're not gonna be able to determine what your growth is and what you're able to scale. So the reason why numbers are important is this. First reason I feel like numbers are important is because of the vision that it's able to provide. If you know what the set numbers are and what the numbers are in order for you to accomplish whatever your vision is with the business, if you know what that path is based on the numbers themselves, then you'll be able to accomplish it. If you don't know what the numbers are in order to be able to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish, and you're just freeballing it, it's harder to have vision, it's harder to have belief versus having objective numbers that if you hit, you will accomplish your goal. So it solidifies your vision, right? Gives you clarity on whatever your vision is. Any vision, by the way, side note, has a magnitude, quantifiable magnitude. I want to make $1 million. Cool. Okay. It has a set depth perception, a set amount of time that it would take. I want to make $1 million in 2 years. Cool. Okay. Now we know the speed we have to go at. And it also has clarity of it. And the clarity of it is whatever the set numbers are for you to hit on a daily basis or a weekly basis in order to accomplish that vision. Another reason why numbers are important, this is probably my favorite reason why they're important. They're all, you know, valuable reasons. Another reason why they're important, though, is because it removes negative emotion. If you're trying to scale a business, it's competitive, it's difficult. There's a reason why most businesses fail. There's a reason why most people fail in business is because it's difficult. And the reason why people give up on their business or don't have success in business is, well, I just said it's because they give up, right? They let into their emotions and they give in and they give up. That is solely based on emotion. That is 100% based on emotion. So if you can remove negative emotions like disbelief or denial, discouragement, whatever it may be, in accomplishing whatever your vision goal is, then you can accomplish it. The way you remove these negative emotions is by, again, having set numbers that if you can hit these set numbers, like you know what the result is. Like you know if let's go back to this boxing example. Let's say if you reach out to 3 people and you know that one person will actually pay for the event and actually go to the boxing event. If you reach out to 3 people, it's a 1 out of 3 closing ratio, 1 out of 3 sale ratio. You won't be upset if you reach out to 10 people, let's say, and only 3 of them do it, and 7 people tell you no. But if you don't know what your numbers are and you get 7 no's and 3 yeses, you're gonna be discouraged, you're gonna be discontent, and you're gonna just not perform at a level of belief and a level of faith versus if you know what those set numbers are. It removes any negative emotion out of the equation and becomes completely objective to, hey, here's what the numbers are, so here's what I need to do, and you don't get your feelings whatsoever. You just execute according to the numbers. Now, of course, with those numbers, they have to be profitable. They have to be profitable. If you're spending, we're gonna go back to this marketing example. If you're spending, let's say, $3,000 on ads, let's say you're spending $3,000 on meta ads in a week. Okay, great. What is the return from that? How many people, let's say, if we said it was like $1,000 that you're generating from one client, let's say, if 5 clients signed up because you paid $3,000 in ads, well, guess what? You just profited $2,000. Let's say 6,000. Let's say you spend 3,000, you make 6,000, so you get double the return. If you know that's the investment is profitable, then that's the one you want to continue to scale and scale and scale until it gets to a point where it's no longer profitable and the margins decrease. Because as you scale, the margins will decrease with marketing. And that's whenever you tap into different markets or you switch up whatever your current marketing style is in whatever that investment vehicle is and whatever that ad vehicle is. So that's how you determine if it's profitable for a specific, that's an example of a specific investment, but that works for any sort of investments into business whatsoever, including even paying employees. What's the profit that the employee is providing you? Is it worth what you're paying them? Okay. Another thing with numbers is revenue. This is a pretty basic one. Know what your revenue is. What is my top line revenue? What's my net revenue? What am I actually making from the business? What's my take home from this? If you know what your revenue is, well, that's all that matters at the end of the day is whatever your net revenue is. It doesn't matter, like we were talking about earlier with sales, it doesn't matter if you do 100,000 in sales, but guess what? If it costs $100,000 for you to do 100,000 in sales, and guess what? You profited absolutely nothing. So people will throw big numbers out there. We did $20 million in XYZ business, but you're negative. So that doesn't matter. What matters is what's the revenue. And as you increase and as you scale, if you take 20%, let's say, is your revenue, 20% of your business is revenue. Let's say you do, I don't know, 10 million. So you're getting $2 million from that. As you scale, that 20% will probably decrease, if not stay the same. So if it, let's say it stays the same for example purposes, you go to 100 million. Well, now your profit, now your revenue is 20 million, right? So as you get a good revenue percentage and then you scale that, that's never going to generate more income for yourself and within the business. Last reason why numbers are important is actually hitting goals and hitting milestones. If you don't know what you're trying to hit, if you're shooting in the dark, you're not going to hit that target. So you have to have set goals in your business on what you're trying to accomplish. Like, I need 100 hires so XYZ result can happen. Well, if you have that goal and you know what the result is it's going to bring you based on the numbers, and you know how much outreach you have to do in order to be able to hit that result of 100 hires, then that's how you scale. That's how you grow. But if you just lackadaisically go through business and you don't have set goals and set that are based on numbers, you don't have set goals that are based on numbers, and you're just going based off of emotion, you're gonna get trampled by people that go based off of the discipline of hitting whatever their numbers are. That is the only way to grow. It's the only way to grow. So, three things, right? Sales, marketing, and numbers. Sales, marketing, numbers. Sales is actually what converts people into buyers. Okay, this is actually where the revenue itself is generated, and it's important in order to be able to actually have these sales representatives, the good ones, paid the highest because they're the ones that are literally bringing profits to the company. Marketing, the marketing itself, that is extremely important to be able to outreach to a larger audience. Most people leverage the thing well, but they don't leverage the thing to new audiences. So making sure that you're expanding the audiences and that the audience itself is a point I forgot to make, that the audience itself is specific and it fills your niche. Like if I'm selling like makeup, I'm not going to be having my Facebook ads or my Instagram ads or my YouTube ads or whatever. I'm not going to have that niche set to guys. I'm going to have it set to girls, right? So make sure it is filtered, your audience is filtered based on whatever you're trying to sell and whatever your audience is. And lastly, numbers. The only way to be able to calculate this stuff and make sure that it all works out, like you're paying the sales rep the right amount and that your marketing is actually profitable, is having set numbers and data that you're able to scale. Don't keep track of data that isn't pushing the needle. Only keep track of the data that's pushing the needle and then find different ways to scale that. You're clearly locked in your business. That's why you're doing it. You have belief in it. You have faith in it. For you to blow up your business, that's what's going to change your life. And you know that. Maybe not even your own life is the reason why you're doing it, but it's for the impact on other people. And you believe in what you're doing. Now, you've watched this video, you've listened to it this far, so clearly you value what you're doing and you value information, which separates you from most people. Now, what I've found out is that most people listen to information, but they don't actually do the implementation. So don't be a victim of information. Actually go out there and apply the information, implement it, and that's how you're going to change your life. That's how you're going to change other people's lives. That's how you're going to blow up your business. If y'all want to put it in the comments, just whatever your main takeaway was and what resonated with you the most. And of course, make sure you implement that thing. But that's everything we got for today. Sales, marketing, and numbers. Have a good one. Stay tuned for the next video.